Hello, everybody. Hopefully everything is working correctly, because Streamlabs just doing stuff today. Hopefully, if my mic is bad, tell me, because it might be lying to me about the input. So keep that in mind. Um, Hello, my name is Aaron, and I'm a member of the Paper Dungeon, and this is Table Scraps. This is a show that we run on Thursdays to talk about the show that we run on Mondays, where we play a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition game, campaign that has been running for 3 years now, give or take. And we are quickly approaching the end. We're approaching the end game of the Paper Dungeon. Before we go too far, I have our plugs that we do at the start of just every stream. I'm going to run through them real quick. Social media, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Those are the ones that matter. We have a website, www.thepaperdungeon.com, that has a merch store. That's cool. If you want to support us, that merch store is a good way to do it, but we also have Ko-Fi. We have Streamlabs donation, and we have probably the most important out of them, Patreon. Patreon is rad. You should go there. We release cool extra content once a month, sometimes more, depending on whether or not we actually have content to release. So keep an eye out for that. If you want an occasional taste of that Patreon stuff, especially if you're a subscriber, you should head over to the Discord. Our Discord is a fun place filled with really cool people. It's a good place to just say good morning, talk about your day, talk about Dungeons & Dragons, ask questions, maybe even start up a game or two. We've had a couple of people that have started D&D groups through our Discord, and it's something that I would love to see more of. I think that is all of our things. I think. So, also, if you are new in seeing this, this is a spoiler time. This is a time for spoilers. So if you are like, man, I really want to watch all of the Paper Dungeon, their whole campaign, and I don't want to know what's coming next, this is a rough show for you. This is tough. This is a tough one. So keep that in mind. So what exactly has been going on in TPD recently? So many things. So many things. Our group has been, it has been revealed to our group what exactly the big threat is. A fellow named Clovar, that's a good shout out, Handskate. Yes, check out our YouTube. Every video we've ever released on Twitch is on there, as far as I know. If we're missing something, I don't know about it. Some table scraps might not be in there, I'm not sure. But, yes. So, a fellow named Clovar, who was a big, evil, bad person from really long time ago. Apparently one of the first creations of the Mother Goddess Lanantari, who was defeated but not killed, and just kind of kept in a little resurrection pod until now. So Clovar has been revived. That's a real pain in the neck, because now a whole bunch of stuff is trying to take over the material plane. We've got Arcfey, we've got Clovar and his gang called the Anathema, and then, they've been messing with elementals recently. That's a thing. There's just a whole bunch we got demons, we got devils, all sorts of stuff is going on. Yes, I believe that is the case. Also, if you watch our intro, you can see on the very last picture, when it's all the members of the group, looming in the background of the picture, there's that same Clovar art. Which is a cool thing, because that's been there forever. Literally, when we first got our art commissioned from Pocket Chicken, fantastic artist, I severely recommend that you check him out. DJ asked for art of a character that was the big bad that we did not know about. And so that has literally been before day one. DJ has known like who Clovar is and what they look like. So Clovar's back. Things are just going down the drain. And so now we have to figure out, how do we stop this? How do we stem the bleeding? Where exactly, what do we do here? So Clovar is searching for two main things. It's actually a collection of things within those two main things. He is looking for pieces of the Rod of Seven Parts, which, if you are familiar with old Dungeons & Dragons stuff, is an item that you probably have heard of before. And then there is the sacrifices. Those are needed because if you control the rod and you have the sacrifices, you can awaken the 6 truths that are basically just the apocalypse personified. I don't remember the names of them, but that's what they are. Currently, we know that Clovar has, I think, 2 pieces of the rod. We had 3 pieces of the rod, which means that there were 2 out there somewhere. One of them was probably owned by the enemy of the anathema, the Chosen, and then one of them is just up in the air. Who knows where it is? Could be, yeah, who knows? It's bottom of the ocean. I don't know. So our group went. It's currently our mission has been for the past little bit: find the sacrifices and warn them / get their help, because the sacrifices are very powerful people from the real old. So they're very useful allies to have, and also just ticking time bombs when it comes to potential threats, because it's like, oh, Clovar found more of the sacrifices, guess we're in trouble. And there's no real way for us to super stop him from doing that, because it's just bad. It's just real bad the whole time. Like, they can't be put in pocket dimensions. We can't just hide them. They can sense each other. So, and one of them is a traitor, so that one is like seeking out the other ones. It's a bad time the whole time. It's just not. It's not good. We went and saw one of the sacrifices, Miriam Azima, who we had met previously in the campaign, and warned her. And then she went off to hang out with her hubby / do important resistance work, while we went and dealt with personal backstory. My character had a grudge against this really evil lich fellow named Valesh Shataran, I think, who had taken the soul of my character's important backstory character. I don't have an exact term, because like the vibe between them is not like, hey, this is my daughter. It's more like, hey, this is my little sister, but also we're orphans, so I kind of have to be your dad, but like that's weird, is the best vibe that I could use to describe how my character and Tal and Ashta are. We managed to get back Tal and Ashta. It's sick. I cheat constantly to do so. It's great. We love cheating. The rules are made up, and you can just choose to break them if it's cool enough. And as a time-honored DM, I will state that. Now, I will preface, there are some rules that you probably shouldn't break, right? But like, it's more like you can make up rules whenever you want. It's not throwing rules out the window, it's adding new ones that allow you to do stuff. Setting a precedent for doing cool stuff. That's DMing. So our next target was a guy named Marcus Steele. Marcus Steele, couldn't find him. He was on a big space boat out to sea. How are we supposed to find him? I don't know. So instead, we go find someone else. We visit the gladiator rings, and man, is it just a place. So many people die. Apathy sending people places. I get called, well, correction. the like ringleader of the gladiators is like, hey, we're taking volunteers from the crowd to fight this guy in the gladiator arena. And everyone else was just way too slow to act. Grant and Drew need to pick up the pace, because I'm leaving them in the dust. So I'm like, I volunteer. Absolutely. I've been asking for this since we got here. Y'all are so afraid. Like, what are you so afraid of? Yeah, sure, the person that we're trying to find / fight in this arena is fully immortal. Like, cannot be damaged. Whatever, man. Doesn't matter. If you have the ability... If you are playing Dungeons and Dragons and you go to a gladiatorial arena and you don't fight in the gladiator arena, what are you doing? Like what's the point? That's why you're here. Pet peeve. You go to a place, do the thing that's cool in the place. If you go to the library and you don't read a book, why are you there? If your characters end up, I don't know, at a carnival, right? Carnivals happen. Character ends up at a carnival. Go on the rides. Live your life. Thank you. That's my tangent. So I go down in the gladiator arena. I'm prepped and ready. I am also 17th level, which means that I now get to do cool things, aka 9th level spells. I've been really pumped to cast 9th level spells. That's like the main reason to play a spellcaster that is a full spellcaster. And I've talked it up. I've talked it up quite a bit. I don't think we got to see the full, like, bona fide effect of it in this past episode, because the main 9th level spell that I use is Time Stop. Time Stop is a really fun spell, but it has a lot of restrictions. The main ones being, you can't affect anyone while within the spell. So you can't, like, poke someone with a sword, you can't cast a spell on someone even if it doesn't harm them. You can basically just run away really easily and, like, position yourself better and then cast some prep spells. But there are some real banger prep spells in the book. And Abinthy has been taking all of them since I started playing Abinthy. So that's pretty exciting for me. We didn't get to see the full effect of it because basically Force Cage shuts down fighters. Literally the easiest thing in the world. Like, a fighter who gets Force Caged is just done. If you don't have magic, you're just done. Like, you can stop fighting now. You can't get rid of it. You can't escape it. There is no freeing yourself from a Force Cage if you don't have magic. Keep that in mind. If you are a DM and your player has Force Cage, you gotta put magic. You gotta do magic. Or you gotta give them an ability that lets them escape somehow. Maybe they turn really tiny and slip through the bars or something. But you gotta give them something. Because Force Cage ends people's careers. As it did in this fight, this poor barbarian friend attempted to charge Abinthy. Abinthy said, I stopped time. Force Cage. Force Cage doesn't affect a person, and it isn't concentration. It's just there. For an hour. What do you even do about Force Cage? Force Cage is problematic. I'm gonna tell you that much. Um, so yeah, so poor little fighter. I don't remember his name. It's like it's the same name twice. But for the life of me, I can't remember what it is. And then Abinthy proceeds to Takano Jutsu the living daylights out of this guy, basically just making him so depressed that he loses the will to fight. Not my intent. Very effective, and something that I may employ later. The main thing that I have learned from this campaign is that I just should have played a bard. Because, god dang, I just like talking to NPCs, talking to myself, talking to other players. Talking's fun, and it has some just devastating in-game effects. So our friend, maybe I can find it, Okaro Okaso. Yep, it's something. Grant always thinks Picasso is the last name, but Okaro gets so depressed that he just gives up. The crowd is getting antsy, so Cather rushes down with the rest of the gang and stabs me in an attempt to make the crowd not hate us. And in the hubbub, I shock and awe, throw a spell into the air, get stabbed, and then teleport us all out of there. We then have a very interesting conversation with Okaro, where he gives us a lot of important information that is a very good thing that we know. Gives us some information about Clovar, other members of the group, Miriam Azima, which is a big thorn in our side, as well as kind of insight into the rest of the sacrifices that we need to find, and a way to bestow someone else with the sacrifice effect. So, like, if we have a sacrifice who is, I don't know, an enemy, aka Zood's Thrim, that poser, we can get him to a place, we can take away his sacrifice ability, give it to someone who matters, and then ta-da, now everyone's on our side. Let's see. In the meanwhile, Abinthy is just a scumbag, but a clever scumbag. I plane shift Abinthy to the home base of Clovar, and I just straight up walk on in. I talk to Miriam Azima. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for Clovar. You're not my boss. I don't want to talk to you. Also, I don't really like you. I head to Clovar. Clovar's like, hey, you bring me that thing I asked for? I said, nope, but I do have news. I don't know where anything is. This is the proudest thing that I did that episode. Is I specifically, and I've been planning this since we teleported away from Clovar the first time, because I'm like, I want to do double cross talky stuff. I want to talk to people. I want to be playing both sides. I just want to kind of be around. I want to be doing stuff. There's a problem with that. I have a really bad charisma score. Like, it's really bad. It's, well, I suppose I can't say it's really bad. It's slightly above average. It's like an 11. So I have a +0 to charisma, which means that lying is hard. So what do? I just don't lie. And so I go to Clovar, and he's like, tell me what you want to know. I'm like, all right, first off, we like left, and then everyone was like, okay, we're not going to do the thing you told us to do. So that sucks. It doesn't suck. It's a very good thing that we didn't. Playing both sides. Here's what I do know. One of the rods that you're looking for is with the Dragonborn. We know about him. You were like, hey, go kill him, get the rod. But now that he's been alerted, he is somewhere else with it. One of them was brought to the orcs, or at least was brought to Athala, and I presume ended up with the orcs. That's bad for you, Clovar, but whatever. And then the other one is somewhere near Gambit's Keep, I think. But it is not within the keep. It is somewhere else. Now, I, Aaron, of course, know where they went. I know that Edward for sure took it to the orcs. I know that... I'm struggling so much with names today. I'm pretty tired, had a long shift at work. But I know that the Dragonborn friend that we have, who has a piece of the rod, is headed towards Athala, but I do not know if he has already made it there or if he is still on the way. And then I know that Cather took it to the island just off the coast where Gambit's Keep is. But Abinthy doesn't know that. Abinthy specifically messaged the Dragonborn and was like, hey, take this rod, go meet up with this person. Don't tell me anything else. He wasn't with Edward, and he specifically has not brought it up. Like, hey, did you take it to the orcs? Has not asked about it. And he just said, hey, Cather, that island over there might be a good place to put it. Put it wherever you think is good. So he doesn't know exactly where the rods are. So when DJ's like, hey, can you roll me a deception check? I just get to go, I'm not lying. I'm telling the absolute truth. It's everything that Abinthy said since he entered was the absolute truth. Which is really fun for me because there's nothing I love more than pulling a fast one over people that care about me. So that was a lot of fun. And then I also get a little bit of information as to where Cather's significant other is located, so that way we can save her later. Which was the entire reason for the visit. There's just gaining information about where people are, like if we need to storm this base, where do we go? How do we find the things that we need to find? Stuff like that. It was very effective. I teleport on out of there to my much awaited friends, cast a spell that is very important to them, and then we go to find Marcus Steele. Might as well check the docks before we go anywhere else. Turns out Marcus Steele's ship came in early, like I expected it to, because I'm like, there's no possible way that it doesn't. As a DM, I know no one's keeping track of time here. If I say, oh, the boat's going to be in 2 weeks, they're going to go do something else. So I might as well just bring in the boat now. I'm not playing Dungeons and Dragons, I'm playing DJ. Like a little tiny fiddle. I can see into his mind, I see the cogs turning. I'm there. He's like a grandfather clock. And it is midnight and I am hearing the bells. So we head to the dock. The Mist Runner, the boat that Marcus Steele was located on, also thank you, Corbin, is just on fire. It was attacked. There were elementals. There still are elementals. And Marcus Steele was taken. As far as we know, Marcus Steele was taken, along with a couple other people, which I'm more interested as to that, because there is a potential that they don't know which one is Marcus Steele, which would be great. But also, how do we do a rescue mission? Or do we at all? Like, I feel like we have to. So what this reminds me of is in Naruto Shippuden, towards like the end arc, all of the Jinchuriki get kidnapped by the Akatsuki and have their tailed beasts ripped out of them to make a supercharged golem that eventually summons bad stuff, right? It's a long story. This is what that reminds me of. We have to stop the Akatsuki, aka the Anathema, from kidnapping the Jinchuriki, aka the Sacrifices, so that way they can summon bad things. Whatever it is, the Six Truths, right? I don't know if we stage a rescue here. I don't know if it's worth it. Which sounds pretty harsh. But, like, I'm just saying. I do feel... So here's... I'm going to lean on that Naruto analogy now that you bring it up, Corbin. I do feel very Jiraiya in this situation. And I think Edward is our Naruto. And that's just a beautiful... That's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful sight. It's a beautiful day. Because God knows I don't know who else is Naruto. It's not Cather. Cather's been too good from the start. Cather is our Sasuke. No, is he? I don't know. I don't know what Cather would be in our Naruto analogy. I don't know. I feel like he could be our Sasuke, but he never, like, betrayed the leaf or anything like that. He does... Actually, I think his family is the most alive. God. First of all, Havel would have been our Sasuke. Havel is for sure our Sasuke. He still could be if he's alive. I'm just saying, we never found a body. If Havel shows up and he's like, I figured it out. I don't need to destroy the leaf. I'll become the Hokage. Then we'll know. That's how we're going to figure it out. I prefer that. I'm still not sure who Cather is, but I don't think that it's Sasuke. It's not edgy / disappear enough. It's just very dramatic. Which probably means that he's our Kakashi in a weird way. Man, I've been talking about anime for way too long. Oh shoot. Yamada? Yeah, no, that fits. Man, I'm pulling out really deep knowledge of my Naruto with this, because I have not seen that show in years. But yeah, no, I can agree with that. I can concur. I'm down with that comparison. Yeah, so now we are faced with a dilemma. Do we go after Marcus Steele? Can we go after Marcus Steele? If we don't go after Marcus Steele, what do we do? Because there's a few important things that we'll need that I just as a guess is stuff we're going to have to pick up. Either A, we're going to need some fancy poison made out of a lich. And I know just a perfect lich to kill. So we could do that. There is we could get a special sword made out of fancy metal. Do harder, in a way harder. Like, we know a lich. Like, we could just kill a lich. We could try to kill a lich. Getting the fancy metal sword requires the help of the dwarves. And that's just a whole deal. That's just a whole kerfuffle. Right? That's just a pain in the neck. And then I think there's like one other thing that we could use. Ooh, excuse me. So we should figure that out at some point in time. And then we could also choose to visit some other of the sacrifices. There are the information that we were given of them is really helpful, because we can kind of split it up to like what person would make the most sense to talk to what person. So like Cather got the war guy who's like, I'll stand with you in valor and respect your desire for death, but also the need to continue on living, because without you, your efforts truly will be in vain. Which, like, Abinthy and Edward aren't saying, not a chance. And then we send Edward to Ocaris Laurelin in Elon Ryan. I don't remember why. I didn't write down any description as to why that's the case, because I'm pretty sure that's the druid in the middle of the desert, which I can't remember. And then Abinthy gets the weird wizard who is only a sacrifice because it gives them immortality. That's just Abinthy. That's what Abinthy is. Abinthy's like, yeah, that would be pretty cool. I'm in. That would be nice. And so yeah, so hopefully we'll just all get along just dandy. And then warn them, get them on our side, and start prepping for battle. We could also gather some more allies. We could approach the Drow. We could approach the various mortal races and just see what they're all doing. Get the dwarves in on it. That's another good way to get that sword. Kind of stuff like that. You know, there's plenty of good chances that we have going on. Plenty of stuff to do, and we're just gonna have to figure out what exactly we choose to do this next Monday. Ooh, that is an important descriptor. This past episode was pre-recorded, so we weren't able to see like live reactions and stuff like that, except by like watching the show, just like you guys are watching the show. But this next Monday, I think, by all rhyme and reason, should be a normal live show, assuming no one gets sick, no one has some big tragedy happen, knock on wood, as long as nothing crazy goes wrong. So Yamato, it's gotta be Yamato. That's gotta be the wood jutsu guy. Sorry, it just came to me as though in a vision. But yeah, so this next Monday we should be figuring stuff out live, which will be fun. I think this last episode was really fun. There was a lot of really good jokes, really good just funny bits that weren't necessarily jokes. There was some good drama. We learned a lot of interesting stuff. We got to see a lot more of the plan put into place, and all around it was just a fun episode to play. And so I'm hoping that continues. I honestly think that our past several episodes, we might have had one in there that was like at best okay, when like every single one of us was just dead. And even then I wouldn't say that it was bad. It was just all right. So yeah, so I'm hoping that trend continues and we get to just do really cool stuff and have fun. As a fair warning, this stream is not going to be very long. I don't think. One of the main reasons is obviously I'm alone today. It's really hard to talk for like over an hour just going off of the sounds of my own voice, and no one to bounce it off of. So, but on the bright side, this is the another one of those excellent streams, as Tamscast almost always is, for asking questions. So if you have any questions to ask of me about myself, about the game, about the cast, about D&D or TTRPGs, feel free to ask. If you want to start up a conversation about anime, okay, there's no real rules here. Um, so yeah, so that's pretty much it. Um, I'm trying to think. Oh, I would like to talk a little bit. So I mentioned that I cast Time Stop. I've been prepping for a very long time for how exactly I want Time Stop to feel for Abinthy. How I and even how in canon it works. So the explanation that I've come up with is loosely the same explanation that happens in A Wrinkle in Time, the book slash film, where it's described they can like time travel in that book, and it's described as they take a piece of cloth and they have like a beetle on one end of the piece of cloth, and then they scrunch the two ends of the cloth together, so it's like cloth and then a loop and then cloth butted up right against, so the beetle can just step directly across, skipping the whole looped section down below. That same explanation can be used to describe Abinthy's time stop, as he takes the fabric of time and then he folds it. But then, while everyone else skips over to the other end, Abinthy takes the full loop. So they end up in the same position, but Abinthy gets to have that little loop of time to do stuff in. I also wanted it to be very dramatic, very descriptive, and I love a good monologue. I love a good like ritual cast, like as above, so below. The earth strikes the heavens like a mighty hammer. Like, you know, the big fancy spellcasting stuff. So I've been coming up with what I want Abinthy to say when he casts Time Stop for like months. Literally, like since I started playing Abinthy, I've been coming up with his Time Stop statement, which, if I recall, which I should recall, because as I said, I've been coming up with it for months, is: with my feet planted firmly in the present, my hands grasp the past, and my eyes foresee the future. May all who gather here bear witness, see as I see, the infinite fabric of time the infinite tapestry of time and space stretch taut, ripple, and then fold. And that's his mantra to cast Time Stop. Which I love. I like it a lot. I think it's very dramatic. I think it's very cool. I also get to expand a little bit on how exactly Abinthy sees the world, which is very different from other characters. He's brought that up, and I want it to be very apparent that it is almost maddening to be able to see the world how Abinthy regularly does, where it's like everything is so bright and vibrant and colorful and strange. Like, he sees glowing lines stretching through the skies above, and like certain people are decadent in like rich threads that may or may not relate to who they are as a person. And the whole concept of like Edward having like almost fire, like golden flames bleed from his eyes and mouth, while twisting green and purple vines, the color of royalty, spread across his body and form almost a cloak behind him. Like, first of all, that's really weird. Second of all, the idea behind it is that the amount that Abinthy sees when connected to a person is dependent on how influential that person is, or has the potential to be, for events to occur. Right? So he may see like kings who have barely a thread on them. And for Abinthy, that tells him they will have little to no effect on the turning of the world. But or it will take a supreme amount of effort for them to ever truly change things. But he could also find some like poor farmer who is absolutely covered in these threads that he can see. Which to Abinthy says the only reason that this person is not absolutely incredible is because they themselves are limiting themselves. It is they are holding themselves back from being something that changes the world. So most of the characters that we have seen, any of the PCs, any of the player characters, have visuals that Abinthy could describe. Most of the bosses do. But there are at least one or two that do not have threads, which I think will lead to a very fun conversation, or at least some scary dialogue between Abinthy and them, where it's like, I don't think you understand. You aren't a threat to me because I can see who you are. Like, I can see more than you can, and you are not important. Like, just absolutely just ending someone's career. I'm very excited for it. So it was a really fun little project that I have almost set up for Abinthy. And it went very well. And I'm excited to see it used in like a real combat. Like something that isn't like here's a show that we're putting on, or like a 1v1. Like once we get to a real like multiple enemies actually trying to kill our characters kind of deal, I think it'd be really fun. Because Abinthy has meant it's no fun for me if I'm playing a spellcaster and I get to 17th level and then a combat starts and I just end the combat. Like, that doesn't sound very fun to me. Where it's like, Meteor Storm is a spell that will literally just end a combat. Like, literally, what are they going to do? Like, yeah, it may not kill them outright, but it deals so much damage, so much area covered, that, like, no minions will survive. Literally, no one anywhere near us, other than maybe the main boss, is going to live. And then your whole group is going to be fine. And it's like, why are we here? Time Stop is such a cool spell, because what it does is it sets up following turns of the game. It sets up Crown of Stars, which is a spell that is hard to cast, because it's an action to cast, and you use it as a bonus action, and you would most likely just rather use a better action spell on your turn. But with Time Stop, you have actions to spare. You can't hurt anybody, so you might as well cast prep spells. So you cast Crown of Stars, you cast Force Cage, which can fully just remove a combatant from the game for an extended period of time. Potentially for an hour if they don't have any way to get out of it. You cast Frost Orb to make like later turns better. And then you finish it off by like getting your prepared spells casted and finish. And so that's just a lot more fun, in my opinion. That lets you continue to play the game and have those big combats, but be prepared and ready for them. Abinthy is basically magical Batman. Except, unlike Batman, his prep time is 30 seconds during the fight where no one else can do anything. And then he prepares exactly what is needed for that situation. Absolute fun. I really enjoy playing Abinthy, and I'm excited to see what he does in the future. I mentioned that it was going to be a pretty short stream, and it has been just about an hour, which means that I think I'm going to close this up for the day. It's a bit of a short one, which is not uncommon when it's just me. Drew had planned to make it this Thursday, but today, but was unable to because he had a pretty bad headache. So wish him well. And then I don't really want to repeat the plugs. The important ones are social medias, Discord, Patreon. Check those things out. You know what they are. You know where to find them. We're the Paper Dungeon. That's what we do. Although we haven't really been doing social media. Although, I have everything downloaded now, and I have been experimenting a bit, and I think that I have found a way to make things a lot easier and a lot more streamlined. Right now, I'm just figuring out the fancy bits, and then I think that'll be in the clear. So within the next 3 months, expect social media stuff to start happening again. I know that that's a very broad time frame, but that's the best that I can give you. Things are wild at Caillou's house. But yeah, so that's Table Scraps for today. Thanks everyone who showed up today. Thanks anyone and everyone who sees this and decided to stop on by. The only thing that I have left to say is the same thing that I say every time I end off a stream. Good luck and Godspeed, everyone. We will see you next time, Dungeoneers. It's been a blast. Goodbye.